The stadium lights felt different that night, brighter, harsher, as if the entire baseball world had leaned in, waiting for someone to finally say what everyone else was too scared to say. And then, Dusty Baker said it. Loud, clear, and with the kind of fire only a baseball legend could summon. It didn't begin with a speech. It began with a stare. A long, heavy stare into the cameras before a single word left his mouth. You could almost feel millions of fans holding their breath, because when Dusty Baker breaks his silence, it means storm clouds are coming. For weeks, for months even, the baseball world had been buzzing with a new phrase the media loved to repeat: the Ohtani rule. A nickname born in headlines, memes, and casual debates, like it was just another piece of baseball slang to toss around. But not to Dusty Baker. Not to a man who has managed legends, witnessed history, and lived long enough inside baseball's beating heart to know when something feels wrong. He finally leaned forward, removed his toothpick, and gave a half smile, not the calm, warm Dusty Baker smile baseball fans were used to. This one had an edge. A warning. A spark. And then he said it. Quit calling it the Ohtani rule. He didn't make the rule. Baseball did. That single sentence exploded across the sports world like a lightning bolt carving through a quiet sky. Reporters froze. Cameras zoomed in. Social media detonated. And the baseball universe shifted just a little bit. Because in those 12 words, Dusty Baker wasn't taking a shot at Shohei Ohtani. No, he was doing the exact opposite. He was defending him. Protecting what the game had built. Protecting what Ohtani had elevated. But the crowd watching didn't know that yet. They only felt the shock. Dusty leaned back in his chair, eyes burning with the weight of decades. You could see every championship, every heartbreak, every moment of baseball's evolution etched into his expression. He wasn't angry at the player. He was angry at the narrative. He continued, voice slow but fierce. Rules are made for the game. Not for one man. Shohei just happens to be so good he makes people think they were. And suddenly the entire room understood what he was doing. He wasn't firing back at Ohtani. He was firing back at the idea that one man could break baseball simply by existing. But the truth is, Ohtani has changed the game. The rule allowing a pitcher to remain as a DH wasn't born out of thin air. It came from the unprecedented reality of one extraordinary player. Dusty Baker wasn't denying that. He was challenging the way we talk about it. Because calling it the Ohtani rule made it sound like a shortcut. Like an exception. Like a cheat code invented to help one man dominate. And Dusty Baker refused to let that narrative stand, not for Ohtani, and not for the history of the sport. He leaned forward again, as if he needed the world to feel the conviction inside him. Respect the player, he said. But respect the game too. The room went silent. Not out of fear, out of realization. Out of clarity. Everyone knew Shohei Ohtani wasn't the problem. He was the miracle. The phenomenon. The kind of once-in-century talent that forces baseball to stretch, to evolve, to reinvent itself just to keep up. And Dusty Baker, as old school as he was wise, understood that better than anyone. But he also understood something deeper. When the media turns a rule into a nickname, it overshadows the nuance. It reduces a complex decision into a marketing slogan. And that, to him, felt like disrespect. He wasn't mad at fans. He wasn't mad at Ohtani. He was frustrated with how quickly the world takes something sacred and turns it into social media shorthand. But as he spoke, something unexpected happened. He began praising Ohtani, not in the loud, exaggerated way TV analysts do, but in Dusty Baker's own deliberate, poetic way. That boy's a gift to baseball, he murmured. One of the greatest talents I've ever seen. And I've seen a whole lot. The room softened. Tension melted into respect. Dusty wasn't attacking a phenomenon. He was protecting its integrity. He explained how Ohtani earned every ounce of recognition. How he trained. How he carried pressure that would crush the average superstar. How he inspired kids from Tokyo to Los Angeles to believe in impossible dreams. But then Dusty leaned back and delivered the sentence that would echo louder than any headline. He didn't ask for special treatment. He just asked to play the game the only way he knows how, exceptionally. Silence. Not the uncomfortable kind. The powerful kind. The kind that fills a room when truth settles into everyone's chest like a weight they didn't know they were carrying. Dusty Baker wasn't defending a rule. He was defending authenticity. He was defending the purity of baseball, a game he had dedicated his entire life to. And he wasn't done. You wanna honor Ohtani, Dusty said softly. Then stop acting like the game bent for him. The game just hadn't met anyone like him before. That line hit like a home run into the upper deck. Because it wasn't just praise, it was perspective. It was Dusty reminding the world that evolution isn't cheating. It's destiny. It was Dusty telling the world that Shohei Ohtani didn't write the new chapters of baseball. He became them. And fans felt that. Deeply. The respect. The admiration. The honesty. All wrapped inside a message only Dusty Baker could deliver. Reporters finally found their voices again, asking him whether he believed Ohtani was the future of baseball. Dusty smiled, the warm smile this time, the one every baseball fan recognizes. He's not the future, he said. He's the present. And you better enjoy it while it's here. That quote became the headline the world should have written months ago. The press conference ended, but the impact didn't. Fans debated. Analysts reacted. Players nodded behind closed doors. And Ohtani himself, quiet, humble, always respectful, would later say he appreciated Dusty's words more than any rule named after him. And maybe that's the real story. Not the rule, not the controversy, not the debate over what to call it. The real story is the bridge between generations. The moment a legendary manager stood up not to criticize a modern superstar, but to defend him in a way nobody expected. It was a reminder that baseball isn't divided between old school and new school. It's connected, through respect, through passion, through awe. Dusty Baker showed the world that Shohei Ohtani doesn't break the game. He elevates it. He expands it. He forces it to dream bigger. And in that moment, Dusty's message became crystal clear. The game didn't change for Ohtani. The game changed because someone like him finally arrived. And sometimes, evolution deserves more respect than a nickname. As the cameras shut down and the room emptied, one truth remained glowing in the quiet. Shohei Ohtani isn't the reason baseball made a new rule. He's the reason baseball believes in magic again. And that, more than any headline, will be remembered long after the rule itself fades into history.